All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Mindful Marathon Conversations. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Quirk. I'm a pediatrician and a run coach, and the founder of Mindful Marathon, where I help make running easy and fun for busy professionals. And today I have a very special guest with me. I have a dear friend, Dr. Amy Raynes, here on the show. Dr. Amy, please introduce yourself, and then we'll get into it.
All right. Well, my name's Amy, and Michelle and I go way back from residency, and then we worked together post-residency. But I am a pediatrician as well, and now am starting a new adventure side gig as a travel advisor.
Love it. Okay, maybe tell us how you got into that. Why do you want to do that?
Well, so I love traveling.
Mhm.
Always loved traveling. Even as a young child, the summer vacations we took were amazing. What my parents were able to get all five of us in the car and drive all over the country. We saw lots of things. And then I took a travel hiatus, I suppose, med school and residency, quite busy. So not a lot of traveling. But then my husband had the opportunity to move overseas and work overseas. So for 5 years, we lived overseas in Japan and Italy. And that really just got my travel experiences going. And
Mhm.
we were able to travel all over Asia, living in Japan, all over Europe, living in Italy, not to mention all over just Italy and Japan in general. And it was just so much fun. And I just feel really fortunate that I was able to see so many parts of the world by doing that. Part of it was that I really enjoyed planning the vacations. So sitting down and having the 20 browser windows open and doing all the research and organizing it. And I started out on these little, I would just carry around my note cards to all the places, my little index cards. And then I graduated to more fancy things. But I just really love doing that. And then moved back to the States, and we still travel quite a bit as a family, and started planning girls' trips with friends from high school, residency friends, work friends. We get together and I plan trips, and everybody has always kind of said, "Hey, you should, this is really fun. You're really good at this. You should do this." I'm like, I don't know if I can. And then most recently, I spent some time with you, and you encouraged me to take the leap and start my own small business. So here I am as a small business owner of Travel Bug by Amy, and I am now doing custom travel itineraries for people. So doing what I love and spreading the travel joy.
I love it. Well, congrats on the start of the business.
Thank you.
I mean, Tony and I were fortunate enough to come and visit you guys while you were living in Japan. And I think, that was probably my first experience. I knew that you had traveled before that, but yeah, I mean, we spent a short time with you, but we saw a heck of a lot of stuff in that short period of time.
And I was very pregnant.
Yes, you were very pregnant. Yeah, but that is still like the best sushi of my life and the best green tea of my life. Yeah, stuff of my daydreams. So anyway, and since then, yeah, we've gone on various girls' trips and things, and you're always the planner.
Well, it's what I like to do.
I know, I know. So we're coming at this conversation today for my runners out there. How can we weave in like running and traveling? And in my experience, this was kind of a new thing for me. When I started running, I did more like a lot of local races, which I think a lot of people do.
Mhm.
But then, my first longer distance race was when I convinced my mom and my mother-in-law to run that half marathon in Disney World. And so that was really a destination race if you think about it, because we weren't doing that locally. It required some planning.
Mhm.
So, coming at it from the destination race standpoint, how would you be helpful to my runners? That's my question.
Yeah, definitely. So that sounds really fun. So you go on your destination runs and you do your running, but then you're in a new city perhaps, or a new area that you haven't been before, and it's also a great time to do, what you love to do. You're doing your races, but then you get to see the sights of a new city or country, maybe if you're going to
Mhm,
to
mhm.
international destinations too. And so what I could do for you is plan a day or two or one, two, multiple days for you of that block of time that you're there for your race, whatever works best for you, either before your race or after your race, whatever is easier for you based on your rest days or how you're feeling after the race, things like that.
Mhm.
And I think one of the advantages of my travel planning is that I'm giving you these custom itineraries that are very flexible. So if you are not feeling up to doing these activities post race, and you need to take a day off after if you're very tired and your muscles are sore, nothing is set in stone. You can then take that and do it the next day if you're there for multiple days, or if you get there early and you feel good and you want to do stuff before the race, you can move stuff around. So nothing is set in stone, so it gives you the flexibility to
Mhm.
just use the itinerary in whatever way that you want to do.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I was thinking as you were talking, besides Disney, like Disney races, I think Tony would agree with this. Our favorite race that we have done as a destination race, was the Monterey Half Marathon in California.
Yeah.
Beautiful. But one year we went to that. I can't remember which year this was, but anyway, we went on the trip. We were planning to run the race, and there was a fire north of there, and
Mhm.
it wasn't really affecting the peninsula like that day of the fire, but then they actually canceled the race because the wind changed and blew the smoke down the peninsula. And so instead of running a half marathon, we were like, okay, what are we going to do today? And so I wish that you had been there, and I wish I had picked up the phone to call you, because we figured it out. We ended up going hiking and like went down to Big Sur, and like we figured it
Mhm.
out. But to have things on, you know, on plan B just in case
Yeah,
for before or after the race, that would have really come in handy.
absolutely. Yep. And you can use it any days. It just the day itinerary can be used any day that you happen to be there. So I don't
Yeah.
have to necessarily plan every day that you are gone. Just, even 1 day or 2 days of when you're gone, you'd get activities for those days, but then those can be used any day that you want.
Yeah, that's great. And then the other thing, we had chatted about was using or maybe using running to see a new place. So maybe it's not a destination race per se, but maybe you're going to a new area that you haven't seen before. And something I really like to do is to just get on foot and kind of go around and check out the area by running. So tell us about how that would fit in.
Yeah, so that's great. And that actually makes me want to be a runner because you get to the advantages when I talk to people who travel that use running in their traveling. There's so much that you can do with that. So you don't the advantages that comes with that, like you get to see so many more and different parts of a city that maybe you wouldn't normally see just going on foot or taking the public transportation to this famous place or this famous place or this famous place. But you have running routes that we could find for you and put in your itinerary that then you are exploring so much more of the city, little alleyways in Italy or finding little bistros in Paris or whatever. Just by going on these little routes, you're going to see so many more things and so much more probably real culture and real cities and streets of where you're going, not just the touristy places.
Yeah.
And also, if you are a morning runner, which I think a lot of people probably are, you're up early and you're running, you're getting your exercise done, but then your exercise is also fun and you are beating the crowds. So if you're
Mhm.
running at 6:37 in the morning, there's not going to be any tourists out there on those streets.
Yeah.
And so you can go to all your Instagram spots, which I can compile a list of all these great places you can get your Instagram photos and your pictures, and you're going to run there and do that while you're running, and you're going to get pictures without any people in it, or just seeing the sites if you're not interested in taking the pictures or the Instagram, just seeing the sites without as many people.
Yeah.
And so, if when you're running too, I mean, you guys have all your plans and you have to run certain miles and things like that. And maybe you're even taking a break from running while you're on vacation, or you're like, I don't want to have to focus on running. And that's okay too, but just running more casually, and not just to get the miles in, but just more casually, I guess, if that makes sense.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
planning to make stops along the way. So, just say, hey, we're just going to go out and run, see what we see. We're going to stop for breakfast along the way at some place that looks cute or a coffee shop. And you'd be surprised what you come across, I think, and just how much more things you can explore and do with running.
Yeah.
And get
Yeah.
out of the hotel and not go to the hotel treadmill and be bored.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think we have a tendency if we go out and run, we'll for some reason find places to eat for
Yeah.
later. So we'll be like, oh, that restaurant looks good.
Yeah.
Like we'll
Or for
stop, look at
later.
the
Yeah.
menu, take a picture and like come back to it.
Yep, for later, or just for like the snack. So let's stop and try this. My itinerary says we should try this little delicacy in this
Mhm.
area or city. So let's just we're running, we passed it, let's stop and do that, take a little break, and then keep on running. So you can do that too, besides just running as the main activity. You can run and sightsee and taste test foods as you go.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing I'm thinking about, I just have one of my clients had a work trip to Edinburgh,
Ooh.
and we had chatted because she's training for a half marathon, and I studied abroad in Edinburgh many moons ago, but
Hmm.
I wasn't running back then as avidly as I am now. So I was telling her places like, oh my gosh, it would be so wonderful to run by all of these places, and there's so many parks and
Yeah.
she had written back that she actually did more running there than she probably would have done if she was home last week
Yeah.
because she was seeing so many wonderful things and had such a great time. So it's just one
Yeah.
of those things like I don't know, sometimes you think like going on vacation, I'm just going to get the run in on the treadmill and then do all my other stuff. But it really is a great way to see a new place.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it makes me want to get out there and run
See?
because you're going to see more. And if that is an interest of yours and you want to do that, I can work that into your itinerary. We can uh, search running routes or,
Mhm.
plan a little running trip around the city where you're going to then see more things.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Well, tell everybody where they can find you.
All right. So lots of places. So Facebook, Facebook and Instagram, if you want to follow along on my little adventures and posts, I do Inspiration Thursdays, Travel Inspiration Thursdays, What Food Am I Eating Wednesdays, just little fun things to follow along. And that's Travel Bug by Amy for Facebook and Instagram. And then website is travelbugbyamy.com. And email, if you want to email me with questions, Amy at travelbugbyamy.com or the contact link that's on the website too.
I'm very excited about all of this and especially the food postings on Wednesday.
Oh yes, food is my favorite part about traveling. So especially if you are a foodie, I can craft you a very special food-based travel itinerary as well with all the best places to eat, what you have to eat while you're there, all the stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And as we know, I talk about this a lot, but fueling is very important for the runners and we're getting in a lot of carbs. So it's a great combo.
Yes, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for being here, for sharing what you do. I think it will help lots of runners and maybe hopefully spark some ideas for people out there for upcoming trips. So get in
Yeah,
touch with
absolutely.
Amy.
Yeah, yeah. It was good to talk to you, Michelle. Happy traveling, everybody.
Oh, and thanks everybody for joining us, and we will catch you on the next one. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. If you liked it, please subscribe and share it with a friend. And if you are a newer runner or a runner who hasn't run in a while and you're looking to get back into the sport, you can find out how to work with me over on my website, which is mindful-marathon.com. See you on the next episode.